If you're thinking about moving from WooCommerce to BigCommerce, I highly recommend it. My name's Cal. I'm a developer and e-commerce store owner just like you. And there's a lot of reasons to move to BigCommerce, especially from WooCommerce. BigCommerce is way more secure. It's got a best-in-class API. It's got best-in-class apps out there to help you market and grow your store. The biggest thing though, what you and I know, is that WooCommerce has some issues. WooCommerce sometimes lets us down. Sometimes our checkout doesn't work. Sometimes there's conflicts between plugins. These are things you're not going to have to worry about on BigCommerce. That's awesome. So what does it take to move? Well, first of all, there's a couple things that you need to do in order to move. You need to set up a BigCommerce store. I'll have an affiliate link below if you guys are interested. You need to make your store, handle the look and feel of your store. And design developers like me and my team can help you do that if you want help. But you got to make your store look good. You got to set up some of those settings that you set up a long time ago on WooCommerce, like your payments, your taxes, your shipping settings. All this stuff needs to be set up. That stuff can be done pretty quickly. But the big thing is you got to move your data. So you have all those products, all those customers, all those orders, and all those categories, and all those pages that you got to move over. Now there are apps that can help you do that. I'm going to show you guys one in this video, and you can also do it manually. I really recommend you guys check out the apps first to see if that's going to work for you and see, can it get 100% of your data? Or can it get 90% and maybe you can manually get the rest? No matter what, giving the apps a try is a good place to start because number one, the app I'm going to show you guys is free to try, so you can evaluate it without paying anything. They're going to give you a quote on how much it's going to take to move all of your data over once it actually runs the test migration, because then it'll connect to your data and it'll know. And it's very easy to do if it works, right? This will get you a large part of the way. Now, I mentioned look and feel. I mentioned, shipping, tax, payment settings, and I mentioned data. After that, the biggest, most important thing that you got to do, and I'm going to tell you this before I show you the app and all that kind of stuff, because if you drop off the video and you don't hear this part, this is the part that can tank your move. You have to migrate all of your URLs, or you risk losing all of your SEO or a substantial part of your SEO momentum that you've built up so far. So all the URLs that exist in your store need to end up going someplace on your new store. Otherwise, Google's going to see that they're sending people to broken links. They're not going to be your best friend at that point. And so if nothing else, if you take nothing else from this video, remember you got to set up 301 redirects. A 301 redirect is just something that says anybody that lands on this URL, forward to this URL, right? Because your URLs are going to change a little bit from platform to platform. So you just want to make sure any traffic that's coming in ends up going somewhere instead of landing at a 404 page. And so that's huge. Those are called 301 redirects, sorry. And the reason I want to get this out here right now is if you go on forums for BigCommerce, for WooCommerce, for Shopify, it doesn't matter, it's all the same. People frequently hire agencies that don't know to do this or forget to do this. It's terrible business to not do it. Everyone should be talking with you about your 301s. But the biggest reason people lose a ton of traffic when moving from one platform to another is not the platform. It's that they neglected to take care of all of those old URLs that were bringing in traffic. So don't forget. I'm not going to cover 301s in this video, but I have other videos out there, or you can reach out to me, for a plan on how to keep your 301s alive, or if you're interested in getting someone to help you through all this process. All right, now I mentioned I'm going to have an affiliate link for your BigCommerce store. You need to go out there and create a BigCommerce store, at least a trial, right? So go ahead and click that link below. If you don't have one, start your trial. It's going to give you basically 2 weeks to play around with BigCommerce and see if this is where you want to go. And again, I highly recommend it. I have BigCommerce stores. I recommend you do too. It's a great platform. A couple things, best-in-class API, best-in-class apps. It's built for store owners, so it's really easy to run your store. It's built with you in mind. It's not something that's been converted into an e-commerce store. It's something that was built from the ground up to be an e-commerce store for you. So I highly recommend it. Okay, now I'm going to run through a data migration in this video, showing you guys how to move your data over from WooCommerce to BigCommerce. And I'm going to use an app called Cart to Cart. There's another app out there called Lid Extension. I've had the best luck with Cart to Cart. I've used it on dozens of migrations. And, there is an affiliate link down below. You're welcome to use it if you like. But the reason that I'm shooting this video and talking about them is it really does make your migration a lot easier. And if it gets all of the data that you need to bring forward, then it's going to save you tons of money over doing something manually. So I'm going to share my screen and show you how this works. Okay, so I have a WordPress site here running WooCommerce, and in this there are several products and categories and blogs, right? So we have all these, we have 5 products, and yeah, I have a BigCommerce store right over here. Now you do need to be logged into your WordPress site as a site administrator so that you can install plugins. You also need to be logged into your BigCommerce store as a store admin or the owner. If you're logged in as the store admin, you need permissions to install plugins on your BigCommerce site. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So just make sure that you're logged in as a user that's got the permissions to install plugins, preferably your BigCommerce owner account. Now, before you do anything, I recommend on the BigCommerce side, because your trial is going to come with products like default test products already in here, I'm going to recommend you just go and you delete all these. And that way, when you bring your products in, you're not going to have these old test products here that you forget about and don't clear out. Also, go to test categories while you're in here, and let's delete out all the categories, because again, we don't want any trash. You can go to storefront, sorry, not web pages, but blog, and just delete out this blog that says your first blog post. Okay. So you shouldn't have any customers in there, anything like that. So we've deleted your products, your categories, and your blog. So we have a clean slate now with your BigCommerce store. Super, super easy. Now I'm going to have an affiliate link down below here for Cart to Cart. If you want to support me, use the affiliate link to sign up for Cart to Cart. And again, this is going to set you up with a free trial. When you click the link, it's going to take you to this page, and you can click this right here that says try it free. It's going to walk you through creating an account. I'm going to skip that part because I've been using the same Cart to Cart account for, like I said, dozens of migrations. So I'm just going to go ahead and log in, but you're just going to follow the prompt on your end. Okay, so we're logged into Cart to Cart. I have previous migrations here, so you're probably going to be at a screen that doesn't show any previous migrations because you're a first-time user of Cart to Cart. So what we're going to do is you're going to click either Start Here or Create New Migration. I'm going to click Create New Migration. I think they take you to the same place either way. Now, I do recommend starting in the Cart to Cart side instead of on the BigCommerce site installing their plugin, because I think it's just a little bit better workflow. So when we click Start Here or Create a New Migration, like I did, it's going to take you to this. It's going to take you to this account. Well, it's going to take you to this wizard, right? And the wizard goes from 1, 2, 3, 4 to flag, which I think is hilarious. We're on the account selection screen, so it says source and target cart setup. So this is the very next thing. What we're going to do here is we're going to click that button, and then it says source cart setup. So this is where we're going to define where we're migrating information from. And it says Magento there by default, but I'm going to change it to say WooCommerce. And then it wants your WordPress admin URL, your admin login, and your admin password. And there's other ways that you can set this up using FTP or manually, it says, but that's going to require you to download some files and install it as a plugin. I'm not going to do all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to just say, whoops. I'm going to go back to this, right? And I'm going to put in the URL and my admin and password. So let's see, this is my admin URL. So you want it to include the WP admin. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click to copy that whole thing. I'm going to paste it right in there. Then I'm going to go to my users. I'm logged, and I'm going to copy my email address right here, and then my admin password, which I don't actually have set up. So I'm going to generate one. I'm going to update my profile to make sure it saves. And this is a throwaway site, so don't bother trying to log into this. Yeah, fancy people. Gonna paste in my admin password, and yeah, so we're good now on the Woo side. Now we need to set up our target cart. So for this, we're gonna be migrating to BigCommerce. So we're gonna change the target cart to say BigCommerce, and then it says click to install the migration for BigCommerce app needed to enable connection with BigCommerce store. So this is why I recommend not having the app installed on the BigCommerce side, but to just do it right from here. So I'm going to click install plugin, which now says to install it, click existing BigCommerce store or new to BigCommerce. I'm going to click on login, and I'm going to log in again as the store owner. Okay, I'm going to click install. Now I notice Card to Card only has 6 reviews. If you guys test this out, if this helps you, I recommend giving these guys a review. Um, yeah, give them a review. Click confirm. And at this point, the app on the BigCommerce side just kind of started to spin. So I refreshed the screen and I went back to my cart to cart tab and refreshed it here as well. The next thing that we're going to do is choose entities, but there's one thing I had to do that you may not have to do, which is that cart to cart was having trouble connecting to my WooCommerce site using just the username and password. And so I did one of their other methods, which is the connection bridge method. And if you need to do that because they're not able to connect to your WordPress site, then what you basically have to do is download this file, and it expands to show a directory, and you need to upload that whole directory to your WordPress site through the FTP. So you may or may not have to do that step. I did skip ahead. So just know if you have a similar problem with them connecting with your username and password, you may have to do that too, but the directions are pretty reasonable. I will say, while I like the cart to cart app and I've used it successfully many times, and I am recommending you try it, if you need their support is not great, but their app works pretty great most of the time. Okay, so let's take the next step. So we have our source cart set up, we have our target cart set up, which is BigCommerce. Next, we choose entities, and it's going to take just a couple minutes to do this step. So I'll skip ahead a minute or two. Okay, that didn't take long, just a minute. So on this next screen, we're at number 3, getting closer to number flag. On number 3, it asks, what do you want to migrate? So it can migrate all kinds of stuff, products, customers, blogs. Within products, there's product reviews, product categories, and brands, right? Now you have to do reviews in order to get categories, because otherwise, what would be the point of having categories if you didn't have products in them? So you can choose to uncheck some of this stuff if you want, but I think most of you guys are just going to want to check products and customers and blogs. It's up to you if you want to do the other stuff. And your success may vary depending on how you created this. So if you were using something super old like WP Bakery, you know what? Bringing in your CMS pages might not work that well anyway. Within customers, you can bring in orders as well, but again, just like the categories, you have to have the thing that those orders attach to um, in order for it to import. And again, this is a demo of their software, so we still haven't paid them anything, which is pretty cool. And you can see that it says limited to 10 within demo. So they're going to import 10 products, 10 customers, up to 10 blogs, up to 10 coupons if you want to import coupons, up to 10 CMS pages. I'm just going to do products, customers, and blogs. Actually, I'm going to undo products just because I don't even have any. I'm sorry, I'm going to undo customers because I don't have any customers in this. Again, that WordPress site I showed you guys is just a demo. So I'm going to just do products and blogs, okay? Now, there's some upsells here, like if you want to do 301 redirects, if you want to change the quantity, like the inventory quantity to 100 on the store that you're pushing to, if you want to turn on inventory. So you can choose some of these. Most of the time, you're just going to, if you want 1 or 2 of them, you might as well just do the include all because it's going to give you a 40% discount on what's there, right? Let's see here. So let's go ahead and check that. This clear current data on target store before migration. So I guess I could have done that instead of deleting these things manually. I've never actually used the clear current data on target store just because it sounds a little scary. All right, so check again. What does that do? Nothing. Okay. So moving down, it says they're going to match customer groups too. So that's cool. I'm going to click start free demo. If you didn't want to import the initial 10, you could have just chosen skip demo migration. Now, this part could take a while, especially if you have a really, really big store, and especially when you're doing like the full migration. Now, we're only doing the demo, so they're only doing up to 10 of each of these objects. So this isn't going to take very long. Okay, so that didn't take too long. I did speed up the results. You can see it, it ended up taking around 4 or 5 minutes, and about 80% of that was on the last percentage of the last item, which was copying files over. And so, if it feels like it's hanging, just give it a couple more minutes, no big deal. And you arrive at step number 4. And when you're here, it says, okay, product number 1297 from the WooCommerce side got pushed into BigCommerce as Bluetooth dog collar. And I migrated posts. I didn't do all of the different types of data. I just did products and posts. And so you can see it brought in blog post with an ID of 5 into a guide to choosing the perfect dog collars and accessories. Okay. So at this point, you scroll down and it gives you the good news or the bad news, right? The price. The price, if you want to do the rest, is this. So it tells you that we have 21 total things that I told them I wanted to migrate. Just the blogs and posts would cost me $59. The additional options, which is the stuff that I added on, would bring it to a total of $248.80. So if I wanted them to migrate my whole WooCommerce site at this point, they've only done the demo up to 10 of each item. But if I want to do all of them, including all my options, it would be 248, which includes 11% add-on for migration insurance. So if I scroll down here, I can see the migration insurance, and what they're doing is they're basically saying, hey, if I want to wipe that and re-import it twice within the next month because maybe something got added or something got missed or whatever, they're going to let me do that up to twice for an 11% tack on for $27, right? I can change that to 1 if I want, and then it's going to save me a couple bucks, right? Because now it's only 9%. Not a big deal. Loyalty discount is being applied to me because I've done migrations with them before. If you guys end up migrating a bunch of sites like I do as a developer, that can save you some money. But my total all in would be $291.40. Now, if I want to change the options that I'm applying, I can click one of these arrows and I can actually remove some of this stuff. So you can see that them creating my 301 redirects is going to cost me $35. For them to create my to change the product quantity to 100, that's costing me $29. Maybe I'll just save my $29 and do it on the BigCommerce side. No big deal. Migrating your categories and products, that was an extra $35. Migrating my product variants based on the combination of options, $21. So if you have product options, you want to bring that forward. Okay, so if I wanted to do the rest, if I was happy, which don't do it yet, but if I was happy, all I got to do is come in here and say, okay, add the funds for the now updated price of 206.61. If I wanted to change like what I'm bringing in, I guess I can do it here maybe. Maybe not. It's just showing me how much there is of each type of data object that I'm bringing in. Okay. So again, don't give them money yet. I'm not saying don't give them money. I'm just saying don't give them money yet because right now they've brought in, hopefully, those sample objects. So what we want to do now is we actually want to go back to BigCommerce and click refresh and see what got brought in. So I am in my products and I see some stuff's missing right off the bat. We're missing images. Now it did bring in stock. It brought in my correct stock for all of my products. These are like the stock that I had entered. On my variant product, Bluetooth dog collar, you can see it brought in all the stock for each variant, which is pretty good. But it's missing images. Now, you really got to go through this and evaluate for sure if it's brought in the data that you need or if there's been any problems. So I'm going to click into one of these products. I have 4 simple products and 1 variant product. So I'm going to click into the simple products first, and I'm going to look at it on the storefront and see what all got brought over. So I obviously have my name, I have my SKU, I have my price, and I have my description. So let's look at this on the demo site, the WordPress site. Let's see, which product was it? Interactive laser toy. So this is what it showed on the WordPress site. And you can see that I had a short description here. And that's actually what's been brought in here as the description. Oh, wait, no, there's more. There's more. It just brought in like a ton of weird spaces. So that's a little weird. Let me just check the text to see if it's the right one. So it should end with not at home if this is all from the product description. Okay. So it brought in the product description, including my bubbles, my bullets, my bubbles, jeez, including the text above and below it. But it didn't bring in my short description, right? Because I had a different field filled in on WooCommerce for short description. So it didn't bring that in. And this is why you want to check, because check the data points that were there previously, and then check the target side and see, did everything make it? And if not, then you got to make a list of what didn't come over and either reach out to cart for some kind of manual integration, which I've never done, or figure out a path to get this, get something like this brought over. So the things that got brought over included my title, my SKU, my pricing, did not include my short description, did include my long description. I didn't have any reviews on the demo WordPress site, so I don't know if the reviews would have been brought in, but we're missing all the pictures, and so the pictures are a big deal. So in the back end of BigCommerce, you can go through here and see what's here, but we're already seeing it on the front end, so I think we have a pretty good idea of what's missing. You can see in this description how there's just a bunch of extra spaces, and this could easily be cleaned up, product by product in here, or you could clean it up in, a CSV import export pretty easy using export all your products to Excel or Google Sheets and do some kind of trim function on it to remove all the extra spacing. That's not a huge deal, but the short description, if you need that, might be a big deal, and the images might be a big deal. And don't take from this video that images are never going to come over. They just didn't come over in this particular one, and that may be because maybe Woo had them in a weird spot on the WordPress side. Okay, so we looked at one of the simple products, meaning a product without options. Now let's look at this product that does have options and see how it came across. We can view it on the storefront. We can see that the colors are here, and they're in a drop-down format. So you could change the drop-down format pretty easily to a different format, I believe. Let's see, if we change it to rectangle list, let's change them both to rectangle list, for example. So I just changed the type of these variants, but I didn't change any of the values. And let me save it. Let's refresh on the front end. Okay, well, that looks pretty good. I didn't really have to do much, just changed the appearance of the option. And down here, BigCommerce, if you bring these in as variants, which Cart to Cart did, it could have brought these types of choices in as modifiers, but it does make sense for these to be variants. The difference between a variant and a modifier is a variant would have its own SKU, it would have its own location in a warehouse, whereas a modifier doesn't. So in this case, all this stuff looks good. It created a table here that shows my default prices. It shows the stocks of each variant, and it did bring in. You can see I had some of the variants on the WordPress site had a different price, so it brought all that stuff in. I don't remember if this is the right SKU or not. It looks kind of crazy, but let's look at the SKU on the WordPress site to make sure it didn't bring that in funky. What was this one? Bluetooth dog collar, I think. Okay, I did have funky looking SKUs on the WordPress site, so it looks like it brought all that stuff in correctly, which is good. Um, it did actually change my SKUs. I don't know if you could see that, but it looks like on the WordPress site, I had the same SKU. Like the SKU was not updating, which means I probably just had a parent SKU and didn't have child SKUs. On the BigCommerce side, when it does variants, it creates a unique SKU to each one. And it'll actually append to the SKU something that describes the variant. So if we go back to the front end here, we can see for the Bluetooth dog collar, let me just refresh it. So when we come in here, it has the parent SKU just like it did on WordPress. And when I change this to black and small, it generates a new SKU. So in this case, it just added a -1. And then we got a -2, -3, -4. If we change to red, we got a -5, -6. So we have unique child SKUs for each one. That may or may not be problematic for you, or it might be very nice for you. I don't know. But again, we're just trying to figure out, what's the quality, what's the condition of the data that came across, and is there changes that need made? So it looks like from looking at these two scenarios, a simple product and a variant product, that pretty much everything made it except for the images and the short descriptions. Now, you may not care about short descriptions, but you may need to come up with a plan to get those images in. And you can see that this is missing the main images as well as all the variant images. Because on the WooCommerce side, when we change images from black to red to pink, you can see that it actually had variant images, and those didn't make them across. So it may be different when you do yours, but this is what you got to do every single time you do a migration is check to see what came across. Now, if you remember, I migrated products as well as blogs. So let's go look at our blogs. We can find those under storefront, blog. And it looks like all that stuff came over except, oh, I still had some blogs that I hadn't deleted here. So I get I guess I hadn't deleted all the blog posts before I did this. So the ones that it populated are these ones that say March 11th, and it looks like it may have double populated some of these. You can see that there's the ultimate online store for dog collars and accessories, and then the same thing again. The perfect online store for dog collars and accessories, and then the same thing again. So overall, overall, a tool like Cart to Cart for a couple $100 is going to get most of your data there, and you just have to try it out and see what comes across and see what didn't make it, especially when you come from a system like WordPress or Magento, where the database tables are allowed to be manipulated by every app that goes in there. And so it's kind of the Wild West data wise, WordPress, which is why I don't recommend WordPress for an e-commerce site at all. But your data's in there and you got to get it out. So the question is, when it comes out, how close to perfect is it? And what's the distance between where you are now to where you need to be? And that's where, you might have a solution for this, or you might need to reach out to somebody like us and have us get you the rest of the way there. Okay. So I mentioned earlier that the most important thing, the thing that you can't forget, like the data is the hardest thing to migrate, but the most important thing that you can't forget, and do not assume whatever developer is helping you is going to do this for you. You have to make double, triple sure that this is going to happen, which is 301 redirects. Now, on the BigCommerce side, you can bring 301 redirects in. You go to settings, and then just type in 301 301, and it'll bring up this section here. And this is where you can you can create redirects one at a time, but you're going to have so many URLs that came across from your old site that you're going to want to import these. So you can do import, and this will actually give you a link here to do a CSV template, so you can download it and just populate it with your URLs. And basically what you want is you want a table that has all of the URLs that formerly existed, and you want to say this URL points to here, this URL points to here, and you want to do that with every URL. Now, Cart to Cart had a little thing that I checked, if you remember, that said that they were going to do 301s. I'm going to make the assumption that they just did it for products, right? So you're still going to need to do it for all of your categories, all of your blogs, all of your pages, everything else. It's going to have to be done manually, and that takes a while, and it's worth doing. Now, I'm super thorough when I do 301s. So I actually will take a crawl of the old site and make that a punch list of all the URLs that I want to keep. So I put all of those URLs in a column, and then I point what they need to go to. And then I will actually export the redirects that existed on the prior site. So anything that used to be redirected to something, let's put those into the old URL column and point those to something. I will actually also go into an SEO tool like Ahrefs.com, and take an export of all of the URLs that prior and existing backlinks have pointed to, and I will create 301 redirects for all of those. And then I will go into Google Search Console and take an export from Google Search Console of any URLs that Google says that they know about, and make sure all of that stuff gets URL'd. So I ended up making a huge column, a huge table, going through and doing lots of work to point everything to where it needs to go. And then I'll take once I import those and create 301 redirects for everything, then I'll take that full list and I'll actually put it on a web page on the site and crawl that web page to see if any of those links have been broken. I think I've already done a video about how that works. Most people aren't that thorough, and you may not want to be that thorough either. But, it's like Grandpappy used to say, you only floss the teeth you want to keep. So you only 301 the URLs that you think you want traffic for, which to me is all of them. If you've got traffic coming in from anywhere, make sure it goes somewhere. Pretty easy, even if it's a chunk of time. All right, so I think that's pretty much the process. So I talked a little bit about make sure the store looks and feels good. That's design and development. Make sure that the store setup stuff is done, which is, importing your products, setting up your taxes, your shipping, your payment gateways. We've talked about how to actually migrate your data using Cart to Cart and spending some real time doing due diligence afterwards to make sure everything came there okay. Assuming that you end up with a result like I did where you're happy enough that they got you 80-90% of the way there, just go back and pay Cart to Cart for the rest of the migration, and then work on those things that didn't make it manually, right? And then when you're all done, 301, 301, 301. 301s are the most important thing, and they're the number one reason why people lose traffic when they migrate to a new platform. So what else do you guys need to know? I think I covered pretty much all of it. You guys can reach out to me at epicdesignlabs.com/need help. If you heard all this and it sounds crazy, it is a little crazy. You might need a guide. It's hard to move from one platform to another, and I don't recommend doing it willy-nilly. So reach out if you guys want somebody to help guide you from one to the other. I will say WooCommerce is not recommended by me for anybody running an e-commerce store. It's got so many security issues between, it just being WordPress and the conflict between all the plugins. It gets slower over time. It's just not a great platform for people that are doing over $1 million in sales. And if you're not shooting to do over $1 million in sales, then what are you doing? Throw your site up on Flippa if you don't want to crush it, right? So BigCommerce is a great platform to crush it on. I've had, so many clients do 7-8 figures of revenue on there. A couple even do 9 figures. and it'll hold up. It's really good, and you'll be able to sleep at night, and you'll have tech support if you need on Black Friday, which is awesome. So I highly recommend it. Reach out if you guys need help. Consider joining our community at ecommerceamplifiers.com. You can ask questions in there. I have office hours on the premium side of things. It's very inexpensive, but it's a good place to meet other e-commerce store owners just like you. And, I put some time in there and answer questions. So I'd love to see you in there. All right. Talk soon.